Hello everyone. I'm that dude over there and want to hear about this anime that came out in the States? It's called Nyan Neko Sugar Girls, or as I like to call it, NSG. It's a series created over 13 years ago by the YouTubers Soap Opera 46. If you're ever interested in watching the series, I would recommend that you don't watch it. Because feeble eyes like yours and mine could not comprehend the masterpiece by this team. But in all seriousness, I went back and forth on making a video on this. On one hand, this is clearly a project made from love of a genre. The people involved were still part of an era of YouTube where it was just people making videos with shoestring budgets and didn't care if it came out like My Cat's Breakfast around noon. Still, some still frames look nice and the animation looks as good as something I could do in Arctic Phone. But my motto is all about building others through critique. I mean, that's why I covered Mike and Melissa in the first place. So, today I want to look at what Nyan Neko Sugar Girls is, address the problems it has, and give a short idea on how I would make a remade pilot. NSG is primarily a show that follows the main characters Raku, Koneko, and Hitoshi as they go about their daily lives. The show had light moments of continuity, but things changed when Raku gets bitten by a squirrel. The tone of the show takes a modern cartoon route and takes their once episodic show and turns it into a plot-driven narrative, following Raku's battle with rabies and cat demons. No, I will not call them Neko demons. My pride won't let me. But if I were to reboot this for modern day audiences, I would want to keep the show as a slice of life as it started out. I'd have it take place in high school if we want to follow the anime route, or college if we do the American variant. I would want to slow down the pace a bit just so we can properly introduce the characters or ongoing events. We could take events like the cat demons and kidnapping and turn them into seasonal plot lines or specials that expand what happened in the original. As for an ending, I don't really have one in mind. But if I want to play a bit into anime tropes, there is one thing I can think of. So if we still end the series with, spoiler alert, Raku dying, what we can do is still have Hitoshi bring up how he believes Raku can overcome this, and rather than everyone shutting him down, the gang agrees with him and offers to help. Over the course of the series, Raku would interact with a bunch of different people. Not just Hitoshi and Koneko. I think that for this ending, the people Raku had touched in her life would be shown trying to help her somehow. Whether that be with kind words of support or raising awareness for the cause behind Raku's comatose. Something that feels like a combination of Persona 5's ending with something like Everybody Loves Raymond. And as the series comes to a close, Raku would hang out with her friends like any other day. I understand if this pilot doesn't sound very concrete, but the thing about slice of life or episodic shows is that they don't rely too heavily on continuity or much of a story. It's about the characters and how they interact with one another. For example, I love Spy X Family or Spy Family. However, I do realize that Operation Strix is more or less in the background as we watch this found family come together. Lloyd learns the responsibilities in becoming a parent, Yor works hard to be a good mother for Anya, and Anya tries to keep the two together without finding out their respective occupations. Granted, this is also coming from someone who has seen only a handful of these kinds of shows and only finished a few. But like I said though, shows like this typically revolve around the characters and their journeys. Whether that be them growing into adulthood or learning important lessons to help them grow as people. So how do we do that for a show that prioritizes boob physics over mic quality? Well, let's start with Raku. From the 10 episodes we see of her, she plays into the shy playful type, who's inexperienced with love. Oh, and she's a cat. She comes off as a bit whiny and annoying, but is always grateful for her friends. But even then, This explanation is a bit loose. I definitely feel like I'm grasping with that second part. So how do we improve? My take is that Raku is the optimistic happy girl. She loves trying new things and bringing her friends with her for the ride. However, she's a bit shy around new people, especially if it's a boy. Much like her animated counterpart, our Raku would become a stuttering mess around a boy she likes or a boy she doesn't know. She'd get embarrassed easily over simple and apologize profusely if she ever offended someone. But around familiars, she acts recklessly in pursuit of new opportunities. She cheers people up and acts as a real friend when others are at their lowest. Her journey throughout the remake is experiencing love and all the hardships that come with maintaining a relationship. However, I don't want the love stuff to just be cliche love triangle subplots. I want actual drama that comes from Raku falling in love with someone that's not good for her. The steady realization that the person you thought you were in love with, you like more as a friend. Or even something like Raku learning to express what she wants or doesn't want in a relationship. To help keep Raku in check, we introduce the next member of the friend group. Kaneko in the original doesn't really do much. We learn a bit about her family thanks to Dolce, but not a lot about her herself unless you need some green tea and ice cream. She is super supportive to Raku and does her best to keep her smiling. But I'm gonna be honest, I don't think she has an actual character outside of this. So for our remade version, I think Kaneko would act like a mother figure for Raku. She's watching to keep Raku out of trouble and has this aura of maturity about her. She takes care of Raku like family, but can be a bit of a stick in the mud. She works hard to keep the friend group from going overboard, and would discourage activities that would put the trio in danger. In short, she's the responsible one who puts a lid on destructive ideas. And I think for her journey, throughout the remake that is, we would see her be more open-minded to these ideas. I'm not saying that her responsibility and hard-working nature is bad, so to say, but she's still young. She should be trying new things, going out and having fun. She should experience these activities while she still has the chance to do them. And to round out our trio of protagonists, we have Hitoshi. Hitoshi is meant to be the comedic love interest for Raku. He's presented as the cool one of the trio with his suave voice. He's also the newest member of the friend group, being introduced to Raku and Kaneko at the beginning of the series. And I'm not gonna lie, he's kinda bland. He's not bad, but he more or less shares the same brain cell as the group, and shows up to either be cool or embarrass himself. But for our trio, I think Hitoshi just needs a few tweaks to make it perfect. For one, Hitoshi is a transfer student who's studying abroad. As a new kid, he tries to make himself look cool to others by putting on this persona of a man with bravado and charm. But behind the mask, Hitoshi is just a boy with good comedic timing. He comes up with quick remarks to situations and is a lot more wimpy than he lets on. Raku would fall for Hitoshi like in the original, when they meet, but it's thanks to Kaneko that she sees the true Hitoshi. Hitoshi's journey would have him mature and grow into the person he wants to be. One that can take charge when times get tough, but still be down to earth and approachable. It would be through Raku and Kaneko that he would be able to open up and be vulnerable to allow himself to grow. I think with this dynamic, we can have a fun friend group. Hitoshi and Raku would work like siblings to overrule Kaneko. Kaneko and Hitoshi would pull Raku back from doing something too reckless and stupid. And Kaneko and Raku could help Hitoshi by introducing him to humility. Thus, the characters work together to help each other with their goals, while still being a comedic trio. But what is a cast without supporting characters to help or harm their growth? What about the characters that help expand the world? Well, let's move on to these characters. And there's mostly 3 to talk about, since these characters were given at least 1 episode to expand them as a character. These characters are Bokutachi, the vet, and Dolce. Going in order from popularity, the vet is a very infamous character. With all respects in the world to the VA who voices her, and the character that she is a hypersexualized figure who practices in veterinarian work, and as a shrine maiden. Her VA talks super close to the mic, like this, which is super annoying and makes it hard to understand what she's trying to say. She helps out Raku and the gang when Raku gets rabies and is overtaken by the Baka Neko. And for our reboot, I wanted to go with something different yet familiar to the task she plays in the animation. Our vet, now called Nurse, is the nurse of the school our protagonists attend. She acts as the group's consultant when things get too tough, kinda like Chef from South Park for the boys. And yeah, she could still be hypersexualized for those who really want to fight for it. I just drew it like this for simplicity's sake. Character-wise, our nurse would be really laid back and devilish at first glance. But as the series go on, we see how much she cares for the students, and her willingness to help them out with their personal struggles. She provides guidance in the form of experience to Raku. She can be someone Kaneko can talk to as a role model for a healthy work-life balance, and she can provide tons of comedic potential with Hitoshi, who she can see through on all levels except physical. Moving on. Let's talk about Bokutachi, the criminal thingy. For sake of simplicity, I'll address him as Boku. So, Boku is just the playful criminal in the original. He doesn't really do much outside of causing Raku's fatal heartbreak and implying that he and Hitoshi will have lots of fun together before cackling off into the sunset. So, for our version, we have a lot of room to make him whatever we need. So Boku in this one is just going to be the annoying antagonist for our friend group, and possible foil to Hitoshi. Boku and Hitoshi share the same desire, to be popular among the masses. Hitoshi expresses this with his mask of being a daring and dashing and devilish rogue. However, Boku shows his want by digging up dirt that was settled long ago. He manipulates others with rumors and gossip, causing enough chaos to make him seem like the only reliable person anyone can trust. While Hitoshi grows by humbling himself and growing as a person, Boku just drags others beneath him, only changing his ways once he has been tossed aside for the bad person he is. I would want Hitoshi to be the one to help him change, just so that way we can kind of make this a callback to their budding relationship in the original. And finally, there's Dolce. You probably don't know who I'm talking about, but it's the purple character that shows up in episode 2. She doesn't have many, if any, lines in her episode, and only shows up to wear a bikini. The only thing we can really identify with this character comes from the one-off lines other characters say when talking about her. Kaneko tells Raku that Dolce is her sister. That's interesting. We could probably work on something with that. However, Raku explains to Hitoshi that Dolce is a dog girl, based off of the Cocker Spaniel. I guess this expands the... Wait, what's her last name? Alright, they don't address characters by their last name. Strange how that happens, but for the sake of adding to the series, this expands the Sando family tree. While it's uncertain whether they are siblings by blood or circumstance, doesn't really matter, since the original doesn't address it either way. God, I wonder if the dad screwed the pooch on this one. Or maybe it's the other way around. But getting back on track, who is Dolce? Well, in my opinion, Dolce is the younger of the two sisters. She's lively and playful like Raku, but I think this character would be flirtatious as well. I can imagine a scenario where Raku has feelings for someone, and Dolce would steal him away because Raku didn't confess her feelings. However, Dolce would get out of trouble a lot, because she plays up her gentle and kind side, and just generally portray herself as a victim. I think of it as the Hiyoko effect from Danganronpa. Dolce isn't as rude as Hiyoko, but she provides that dissonance between angel and succubus. I think as the series went on, she would probably grow to be more considerate of others, but I would still want her to be that contrast to Kaneko with her flirty nature. And that's all of the characters I want to address. There aren't going to be any new additions outside of that, and with the exception of limiting the fantastical elements, there's nothing really to change about the plot. So with this done, and a good idea of where the series will go, it's time to present an ideal pilot. And before I do, I still want to address that this is how I'd remake the show. I still think the original is, well, it's a thing that exists, but I would never use my idea to substitute watching the original and coming up with your own opinions. So with that out all of the way, let's take a look at my attempt at a pilot. Our story starts with Raku monologuing to herself on her way to school. It's autumn, the season of change. On her way, she encounters Koneko, and the two talk about the new season, summer break, and their future plans after school. On their way to class, they hear rumors of a new kid who's transferring from insert location here. Raku is excited about the news, but Koneko tells her not to get her hopes up, as most rumors aren't that true. The two talk about the new kid and who he'll be, and leave for their class afterward. Once class begins for Raku, the teacher begins the lesson by introducing the new kid, Hitoshi. As Hitoshi walks into the room, Raku stares at him in awe. The scene would drag a bit as Raku fawns over every little movement that Hitoshi makes. To Raku, all the rumors about him are true. A rich, charming exchange student who radiates an aura of confidence and passion. The scene would then cut to lunchtime, where Raku would be gushing about Hitoshi to Kaneko. Kaneko would be skeptical that Hitoshi could live up to this reputation presented by hearsay. Kaneko would then ask if Raku had even spoken to Hitoshi, and Raku would look at the floor a bit embarrassed. Kaneko tells Raku that the Hitoshi she built up in her head is no more than an idealization of him, and tells her to leave him be. However, just after saying this, Hitoshi would make his grand entrance, captivating everyone in the room. He announces that he had bought ice cream and offers to give everyone some for free of charge. Kaneko points how immature Hitoshi is, but everyone, including Raku, speeds towards Hitoshi for free ice cream. After class, Kaneko offers Raku a chance to stop by the mall to window shop before dinner. Raku accepts, and as the two leave school, they find Hitoshi talking with a bunch of girls who listen to every word the man has to say. Raku tries to approach, wanting to hear what the group's talking about. Kaneko has to pull her away, literally, so that they can go without getting distracted. At the mall, Kaneko explains that people like Hitoshi just lure girls in to break their hearts later. Raku refuses to accept what Kaneko is saying, and accuses her of being too harsh on the new kid. Kaneko tries to explain that not everyone are as they seem. Some people have things they want to hide about themselves, through over-the-top gestures. However, Raku ignores Kaneko. The two girls finish their shopping trip, with Raku buying everything that catches her eye. As the two prepare to leave, they run into Hitoshi outside. He's talking loudly over the phone, and the two get secondhand embarrassment after hearing Hitoshi getting chewed out by the person on the other line. After he hangs up, he notices the girls and tries to recover the situation by pulling out that charming persona from before. Failing to convince the girls, Hitoshi eventually explains that his mother called and chewed him out for his stunt he pulled back at school, and won't send him any dinero to cover his hide while he recovers his financial losses. Raku, seeing an opportunity, offers Hitoshi to join them back at their place for a sleepover, accompanied with dinner. Kaneko tries to tell Raku that this is a bad idea, but gets cut off by Hitoshi, who accepts the offer. Back at their place, Kaneko begins preparing food and brewing tea while Raku sheepishly asks Hitoshi about himself. Hitoshi tells the girls about how he wanted to study abroad, but didn't realize how much work he actually had to do to support his lifestyle. Now he's nearly broke after trying to become popular with his peers, with no people to properly rely on out of fear of losing said popularity. Raku sympathizes with Hitoshi, while Kaneko groans in the background over Hitoshi's reckless behavior. Raku offers to let Hitoshi stay with them while he recovers. Kaneko is against this, and even Hitoshi is concerned about this since they know his secret. However, Raku tells Hitoshi that they won't tell anyone, and that'll be fine since Hitoshi has everything to lose if he tries anything stupid. Kaneko, after hearing this, begrudgingly agrees to let Hitoshi stay, and the episode ends as the three raise their glass to a good year. Thank you again for watching. It took a good while to figure everything out, but I'm content with the final outcome. NSG is something I was expecting to be something moderately popular because of its flaws, but seeing how people created so much because of the series, it made me happy to know that people became somewhat inspired by this series of nothing episodes. I was surprised to find out that Soap Opera 46, the creator, began posting new stuff since 2020-2021. Sure, the mic quality still ain't that great, but the art seems to have grown and developed since the original series. Not by a lot, but enough to notice. At the end of the day, this was a fun topic to look into, and I'm glad I could try my hand at creating something I'm sure nobody asked for. And if you liked it, why not leaving a like or subscribe? I cover a lot of things over here, and it helps idiots like me who suck at promoting videos. If you have any ideas of what I should look into next, why not leave a comment and let me know. But until next time, stay safe out there.